Happy Friday, Mavs fans. Harrison Graham and Jeffrey Cooperstein here. Defense may be boring, Coop, but you know what it does? It wins games. The old cliche, defense wins championships. And I'll tell you what, the defense the Mavericks have played for the last several weeks has been absolutely fantastic. And if anybody watched the Hawks game last night, the Mavs and Hawks were both struggling to score. Dallas's intensity on the defensive end was a key to keeping that lead kind of safe throughout that fourth quarter. And, hey, that's one thing that translates to the playoffs. If you can defend like that, you're going to have a shot to win.
No question about it, and we'll get into it a little bit further, but I know Jason Kidd has been begging this team to defend for a long time now, and it seems like basically since the trade deadline, they've kind of figured it out. I want to shout out my guys, Mavs Film Room, for these couple of tweets here. They have moved out of the bottom 10 in defensive rating for the season and are tied with Sacramento for 18th. And they're 0.4 per 100 possessions behind the Lakers for 15th. And everyone views the Lakers as this great defensive team. Yeah. And I think this last part is very true. Might not seem like an accomplishment, but considering how awful they were in the first half of the year, I think it is a pretty good indictment of how much better they've been.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you crunch the numbers, and we have this next tweet as well from Mavs Film Room, 25 games since the deadline, 7th best defensive rating. That's better than New York, Houston, OKC. And, the point I was going to make is to move up that much, that means you're playing like a top 10 unit for a while.
Yes.
7th best, according to Mavs Film Room. Appreciate that note from them. Listen, Coop, to win a championship, it's proven over time you can't be a bad defensive team to win it.
Absolutely.
Now, is their rating for the whole season probably lower than a typical title team? Yes, but the team that's playing right now, which is all that matters, is defending at a level that is required to have a chance to win a championship. You got to be a top 10 defensive unit. They've been that for about 2 months now.
Yep.
So that gives you a shot when the bullets start flying here April, May, and June.
Yeah, this has been Jason Kidd's priority for the last 2 seasons. He was saying it during the 38-win season. The Mavs just aren't defending well enough, and he was saying it at the start of this season. He knows that this team's going to score a lot of points because when you have Luka and Kyrie on the floor together, that's going to happen, but they really needed to hone in on the defensive end. I think the acquisition of P.J. Washington has helped out this defense a lot, and then Gafford as well, and then Kidd putting Derek Jones and Washington into the starting lineup, those kind of interchangeable defensive wings. It's helped this team really take off, but I'll say this. It starts with Luka being active on that end, and when he is active, this team is so much better defensively. When he's getting into the passing lanes, he's being aggressive at the point of attack, it makes life that much easier for them on the offensive end as well because they're able to go in transition more often.
Yeah, and look, I'll say this too, with Luka, and I'll throw Kyrie into it as well. They're never going to be all-pro caliber defenders, no. But when they lock in, Kyrie's got a really good swipe. Like, he had a couple plays late in that fourth quarter where he's just getting his hand in there when the guard's being a little loose with the ball, and he's just knocking the ball away. And so, those little things, sure, is he going to lose some ISO battles against bigger guards? Yeah, he is. But, if you make enough of those deflections, a big coaching staff's keep Coop is deflection.
Yes, the Mavs love the deflection
Get your hand on the ball, because the more often you do that, the more turnovers that's going to lead to. Or even if it's not a turnover right then and there, it throws the rhythm of that offensive set out, and then you're basically having to start over, and by then you're probably under 10 on the shot clock. So it's huge to do that. Luka, with his length, I think has really been able to do that a lot this year as a kind of team defender, and we know, against bigger physical guards, he can hold his own as well. A lot of it's just buy-in, man.
For sure.
You gotta, for the lack of a better term, give a shit.
Yeah.
and buy into what you're trying to do. And if you give effort, you're at least going to be league average, I think, because they do have enough talent now with their 2 centers. Obviously, Live is out right now, but you mentioned the 2 wings. It kind of reminds me, to a little bit of an extent, the run 2 years ago with Bullock and Finney-Smith, but instead of 2-3 guys, it's more 3-4 guys.
Exactly.
Those bigger wings in Washington and Jones who can do that. Hopefully Green gets back so he can give you more of that 2-3 look. We'll see what happens there. But, yeah, there's no question that a big part of this 12-2 run over 14 games and really the last 25 games, other than that 5 or 6 game blip a few weeks ago, it's been just being a good defensive team. Sometimes it's just the simple things, and I think it is in this case.
Like you said, it comes down to giving a shit, as a wise man once said, and it feels like the Mavs are doing that lately. Another stat to throw at you, 12 of the last 16 opponents been held under 100 points by the Mavs.
Which, in today's NBA, league average scoring
unheard of.
Is like 112 points now. So
last I checked, which was about 2 weeks ago, the worst team in the NBA was averaging 107 a game.
Yeah, so you're holding teams under 100. I mean,
you're going to win.
That is really good stuff. Grade the Mavs defense right now. I think it has to be an A. Let us know what you guys think. Subscribe to the channel because we cover the Mavericks year-round, not just in the season, but in the offseason as well. Draft, free agency, trade rumors, all that. We keep you up to date with everything surrounding the team during the season, like right now. Playoff watch parties, we plan to do some of those. We'd love to do every game if we get more subscribers. So join the family, hit that subscribe button, and keep it locked in here to Dallas Mavericks Today. All right, Coop, you got 6 games left. Took care of business against the Hawks. We said, hey, go at least 4-3. Well, if you want to keep up with that, you need to just go 3-3 now. You know, if you want to be greedy, hit that 50 number, 4-2 the rest of the way. Tonight's a big one. The Warriors took care of the Rockets, so the Rockets are all but eliminated from the playoffs at this point.
They're done.
We'll see how much both teams throw at this game tonight because both have been grinding hard to position themselves. Golden State had to really lock in the last 2 weeks to separate from Houston. Dallas, obviously, to get into that top 6 Coop, has really been playing some heavy minutes and putting together some big performances back-to-back. I'll be curious to see what the energy levels are at the AAC for both these teams, considering neither team has to win this game.
Exactly.
Would Dallas like to get it and further stamp their positioning in the top 6? Yes, but it's not needed. Golden State, they really don't need it at all because they can't really move up. I guess they could catch LA, but that's about it. I think they kind of know they're going to have to win 2 play-in games at this point. So I'll be fascinated to see what the energy levels are, considering both these teams have kind of been busting ass the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, a couple of things to watch in this game tonight. Jonathan Kuminga was supposed to be back last night against the Rockets, but he didn't play. It sounds like he's going to make his return from injury tonight, so the Warriors get another added weapon there. And then both Luka and Maxey are questionable for tonight's game. I don't think they're going to rest Luka. I think they're putting him on the injury report just in case, but I don't think you can rest until you have your seeding solidified.
No, I mean, again, you don't need this game, but, like, I don't think it's so little of a game you can just do a load management.
Fully agree.
Like, I think you have to give it a go. And, look, if it's one of those where the game gets out of hand, sure, maybe you save some minutes in the second half, but I think you got to play your guys. Who you got? Type DAL for the Mavericks or GSW for the Warriors. Hopefully Dallas bounces back after dropping one of the Bay earlier this week. All right, get going with our sponsor, Prize Picks. It is the final stretch for the NBA regular season as teams are trying to lock in their playoff seeding. Same in the NHL. The action on the ice is heating up. And, hey, the Final Four, too. Daily Fantasy Sports made easy. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. Code CLNS to get a deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. Here's an example that you can play tonight. More than 51.5 points, rebounds, and assists for Luka. I like the more. He's lighting up the stat sheet right now. Daniel Gafford's been a rebounding machine. I think that 7 numbers.
Only had 3 last night. That's why I'm taking the more here.
Classic. What's the overcompensating on the other end? Yeah, this might be like a 15 rebound game. And then Al Horford. 10.5 points will go less there. 10 to win 50, 5 times your entry on a standard 3-player entry, but you can win up to 100 times your money on certain entries. Go check it out. You got Major League Baseball in action as well. PrizePicks.com/CLNS. Use the code CLNS to get started today. Let's talk about a positive trend, Coop. P.J. Washington, who the game before didn't shoot it great against Golden State, but in general, over the last 6 games, he's shooting the ball much better from 3. I think it's like, yeah, here we got the numbers here. It's over 40%. If he can just be a guy who can knock down open catch-and-shoot threes, which he gets plenty of playing next to Luka and Kyrie, with how he's playing defensively, that's all you really need. You don't need him to be a shot creator like he was in Charlotte. Just be a fairly reliable knockdown shooter, and his role is absolutely massive on this team.
If PJ is going to knock down the corner 3, I'm not sure how this team loses, because that means you have to account for the corner 3. You have to account for the drive. You have to account for a pick and roll. You cannot cover everything, and this would just add another dimension to their offense. I've been told by a source, you can guess who that source is, that PJ Washington and the Mavs have been working, kind of altering his three-point shot, where they're trying to basically make him unlearn some stuff that he learned in Charlotte. So they're trying to rework things kind of in the middle of the season. That could be an explanation for why his shot was a little slow developing here in his time in Dallas so far, but it seems like after about 6 weeks, he's kind of figured it out here, and it's a scary sight to see.
Is it a release thing? Is it a
It's a footwork thing. On the catch, instead of him just catching and shooting, they want him to set his feet first and then release. So they've been working with him on that. It seems like it's been paying dividends over the last 6 games, evidenced by the 44% from
Well,
three.
and here's the thing. When you play with Luka and Kyrie, typically on the catch, you have that extra quarter second so that you need to reset because teams are crashing on those guards in the paint. So you can afford to take that split second longer and line up those feet. And he was lighting it up last night. So, hey, I don't need 44%, but if you give me 38, that's really all I need, man. He's gonna play a big role on this team with what we mentioned earlier, his fantastic defense, which I don't know, like, if it was an effort thing or if Charlotte's just that bad, but, like, he has never defended like this in his career.
No, he's been known as an okay defender, but what he's doing with the Mavs right now, we have not seen.
Defender here.
We have not seen in his NBA career so far. It probably was mostly the fact that Charlotte stinks and they're an irrelevant organization.
When you're losing, giving a shit on defense in the NBA,
it's hard.
It's kind of obvious.
It's hard.
I mean,
no question about it.
Let's be honest.
I did want to bring this up, though. It kind of, with Washington's elevated play lately, it kind of brought me to this question: Who's had the bigger impact so far?
I still think it's Gafford, but it's close. With Washington's defense, I just like. I think you have to go Gafford, and here's why. One, it's basically eliminated you for the most part from having to play Dwight Powell.
Yes.
We all love Dwight Powell, but like he can't play anymore. Like he can't. He's a great culture guy. If he wants to be the new, better Theo Pinson, that's cool with me. He's a great culture guy. Isn't he a part of the NBA, PA, whatever? Like he represents the Mavs very well. But you cannot play him in a playoff series. So that just for that alone, I think you got to go Gafford there. And obviously, he's been fantastic, too. I mean, I know he only had 3 boards the other night, but he's been a double-double machine. So I would lean Gafford, but the gap was closed. Like 2 weeks ago, it would be like, oh, easily Gafford.
Easily
now
Gafford.
It's like, okay, like you're seeing more offense from PJ. The defense has been there. So I'll say this, Coop. Both these guys have had a huge impact. And when you make a trade, you don't know how it's going to go, especially right away. And it's been pretty damn good so far.
Yeah, when the goal is to make your team better at the deadline, and it's clear Nico Harrison did that with these 2 moves, and he made a couple of moves to supplement these as well. Like he had to go get an extra first-round pick from OKC, so he did that to make the Gafford deal work. So credit to Nico and credit to these 2 guys for coming in seamlessly for sure.
No question about it. All right, guys, big game tonight at the AAC.
I dropped a short on the channel about this. I just wanted to mention really quickly. Luka now number 2 on NBA.com's MVP ladder.
All right.
We'll see.
If they win 5 out of 6 or something down the stretch, I wouldn't completely rule out him winning it. We'll see how that plays out. Big game tonight.
Big one.
Go check that out. We'll be back in the next couple of days with another episode, so stay tuned. Until then, subscribe and take care.
See you guys.